Origins reading for Perusing Through. And I get to admit that, idiotic as it might sound, I wasn't 100% sure what perusing meant. And when I got the code name, I was seeing these books. And of course, when I looked it up, it meant like looking through a book very carefully or examining something very carefully. I think I'm beginning to realize that these readings are my dictionary. But okay, so as there's already a pretty intense energy coming in. Oh, right. Before I get into the light and anything I saw in the code name, I should go ahead and mention the malachite thing because I use malachite. This is my malachite stone here. And I use this during some of my readings. And of course, I pulled it out in yours because of the question that you had as to whether or not malachite was safe. If I hadn't have felt to use this crystal, I wouldn't have pulled it out. So it's not actually because of the question. I pull out the ones that I feel, but this was the only one that I actually felt. I actually had a pretty recent reading, like a few weeks ago, I think, where this person was actually asking about a child that they have who is experiencing some psychic phenomena, and they were asking about how to protect them. And I don't know I don't know every single meaning that people have out there for the different stones. I know what they feel like to me, and I know some of the meanings. Um, but it actually came up in the reading because I felt to look it up. Like sometimes I'll look up like a totem animal or I'll look up one of the crystals and the meanings. And the first thing that came up with the malachite was that it's a stone that protects children. So this is definitely not a dangerous stone, but on the other hand, I suppose that anything could be used in a negative way, so it would really be the intention of whoever is using it, but never the stone itself. Stones are very connected to the earth and connected to Mother Nature. That's what I get from this stone. A lot of times green has to do with the heart chakra, but when I feel this stone, it reminds me of earth, green like the earth. It feels very grounding and centering and clearing actually to me because the energy is rather intense. So it feels like it's kind of a cleansing stone, clearing the aura and what have you. Okay, so yeah, and that was the code name Perusing Through. But so I normally use a crystal to surround us in the light. And when I'm getting the code name, so before the actual reading, I always surround myself and the person in light. And I sort of use a crystal to assist me. And so I use whichever ones I have drawn. And so in this case, I used the malachite. And now, as I was surrounding you in the positive energy, I'm not really sure what this exactly means yet, but as the energy was trying to come around you this way, so going like above the head and down the front and then up this way. And for some reason, as the energy was coming down the front, it got right around the root chakra, and so it was going to come back up the other way, and it was bumping into something. It felt almost like a wall. It was very, very difficult to get the energy to come back up. And for some reason, the energy, it's like it kept being pulled the other way. For some reason, it wanted to come this way. And it was much easier to get the energy to go this way, and it didn't want to come back the other way around. So I don't know if this is an unbalanced chakra or what this was referring to, but it did have to do with the root and the sacral chakra specifically. And that was taking me actually a while, so I'm going to surround this again, but I didn't want to spend so much time at the front of the reading. I just wanted to go ahead and get the code name, you know. So I had to kind of stop and go, okay, what's the code name here? Because it was taking a little bit of time. And you did have a guide coming up, flashing like a white light. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and, oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm being reminded of that. Actually, I had to actually start pulling from Ganesha behind me. So I started using his energy as well to try and get this to start moving, because using only the malachite wasn't doing it. So whatever this is, it was a pretty big block. So I'm going to ask him about that. And obviously, you know, we'll ask about the origin. And okay, so the second question we've answered. And then we have the first question about the aura. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt a second time here to just surround you in a positive energy. Now it's interesting that they did have me go ahead and pull this. And also that this was the only one, because if I had pulled another one, I might have used a different one, since I know you were feeling a little bit weird about malachite in the front. But this stone, as I was saying, it always feels to me like it's very grounding and very clearing. And this was the root and the sacral, which, you know, the root is a grounding chakra as well. Okay, so just visualizing this again. This feels very fearful. A lot of times in the sacral, this is where we will hold on to like a childhood trauma or an old trauma. So it could also be a past life, but this is where we hold on to these old traumas that we have a lot of the time. And they can get sort of stored in there. And so then the one right underneath it, the root chakra, we're having trouble grounding and like releasing the energy into the earth. So this is the chakra that your guides are saying needs to be cleansed out here, this this sacral chakra. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the malachite back now. And okay, now I'm seeing the energy coming down the other way, just going ahead and wait a minute, no, that's the same way. But I see one of your guides just going ahead and surrounding you in the light kind of quickly, because I feel like they want to talk about other things too, but they want to make that known to you. They want to tell you about that. issue in the sacral chakra. Okay, now they're showing me the other chakras going up and they're stopping at the throat. And there's something with the throat chakra that your guides are wanting to address as well. And I'm really feeling my solar plexus. I was feeling my throat too, but then I'm really feeling my solar plexus. And again, there's this fearful feeling in the solar plexus. Now, the solar plexus has to do with your ambition, your drive, and what you want to put out to the world. Like, so it can have to do with career, but it can also do with the face that you put on to the world. It can do with confidence, but it can also do with it can also have to do with almost putting on a false confidence. So the energy that your guides are coming through with is that there's this deep-seated fear. And this has to do with a childhood or a past life trauma, and this is in the sacral chakra area. And then because of that, it's like you are putting on this, it's like you're sort of overlapping it with this other energy of this confidence that you want to exude. Your guides are saying that you're very intelligent. You have a lot of intelligence, and this, it's like your mind in some ways is very clear. It can really process information, and you're very good at that. You're very precise and clear when it comes to expressing certain things and when it comes to processing certain logical information. A lot of logical information can pass through your mind and your body, and this has no trouble going down. That's interesting. Okay, so apparently then when they're coming down forward, for some reason, this is having to do more with your emotional self and your emotional capacity, and that's where the block is. And it wants to automatically come this other way, and we want to look at the logical side of ourselves and kind of overlook the more emotional side of ourselves is what's coming in. I never really didn't know anything about that really, about that there would be a difference in these two directions here. But that makes sense because you have the right side and the left side mean two different things. One means your more feminine side, one means your more masculine side. So it kind of makes sense that the front and the back would have to do with various things as well. So this has to do with your emotions and like expressing them out, letting them pass out of you. And that's why, again, the root chakra, it needs to pass down into the earth because the sacral has to do with the emotions, has to do with expressing emotions, but then the throat has to do with expressing your will. And expressing what you feel verbally, being able to communicate it to others. So being able to express your more vulnerable nature in an outward way and to relate that to people. It also has to do with saying what you want and being comfortable with getting it, being comfortable with almost being an authority when it comes to your life and what you want, and just going ahead and saying it. This is me, this is what I want, and putting it out there. The energy that they're giving me is that sometimes the problem with not expressing our deepest fears and letting them go is that we end up not expressing our desires or not knowing what they are, not being clear on what our true desires are or what our calling is, even. And then kind of feeling like this is what I want to do logically, and picking something that it's like, well, it isn't our deepest desire. It isn't the thing that we want most. And sometimes we're afraid of the thing that we want the very most. But I feel like you have to clear this out, clear out this fear if you are going to connect with the thing you want to the thing that you want the most, and manifest the thing that you want the most, because this is emotional. And so if the energy isn't wanting to come down this way, then, and also if it's not wanting to be communicated outwardly, then the more logical stuff you're good with, and you're going to more easily process that and let it flow through you into manifestation. But something more emotional, you're going to have a harder time with manifesting and with connecting to what it is exactly. This keeps coming through, almost like a confusion as to what the deepest desires are, as to what you want them to be, like what you would want to manifest emotionally and pass through in an emotional way, like pass through you into manifestation. So they're just saying this again, that what needs to be cleared out isn't so much the logical side, it's the emotional side. Okay, the origin. Okay, so right away, they're giving me a feeling of serious. So this would make sense with all the intellect coming in, with the intelligence that they were speaking about. And with this mental clarity, this mental preciseness, this mental precision. So they're saying again that you're very smart, and that comes from there. That this comes from this origin. Okay, so the other connection is that you were asking about the aura color, and this was before the reading, and I wasn't really in a circle or anything, so I wasn't sure if, I was just seeing something. or if this was actually what was coming in as the color. But now I'm being reminded of this Syrian association with this specific color. So when I first was reading this question, I was just seeing the color blue, and it actually, the color I was seeing looks, hold on, which side here, looks like this uh, blue here on this tapestry. And the association is that since I recently got this, one of my sister-in-law just got back from a trip to Israel where she bought this for us. And this is Ganesha, so he's a Hindu deity. And since I had recently bought it, Wolf and I were speaking about the Hindu pantheon. And he was mentioning, because the Council for the Assistance to Earth had spoken to me before about an Assyrian connection with the Hindu pantheon and also with the Egyptian pantheon. And also that they were connected, and those two pantheons. And then Wolf was mentioning that from another channeler that he was following at one point that I was never really following or anything. He mentioned that this channel also said that the Hindu pantheon had this Syrian connection, and that part of the reason that they're drawn with blue skin was because of that connection. And so this is coming up again, this blue color and this blue association with Sirius. And obviously as well the indigo vibration has an association with this deep blue color. Okay, we have a few more minutes. I don't feel like they really have anything more to say, so I feel like they would like me to focus some on actually clearing this out, clearing out the sacral and the root chakra area. Okay. So I'm just gonna start doing some visualizing here. So I don't know how much I'm gonna talk for the next few minutes. Okay, so no, I'll explain more in a minute. I'm just going to keep going for a little longer. Okay, so what they're having me visualize is, and actually they were kind of showing this to me on my own. I didn't realize I was going to be visualizing this, so they didn't give me the visualization beforehand. I just started seeing it from them. But this could be a visualization also that you can do. So the visualization that they gave me was seeing your these three different chakras, the or sorry, two different chakras, your sacral and your throat. I was saying three because of the issue with the root, but I guess really that is connected to the sacral chakra issue. So visualizing the chakra, starting with the sacral chakra, that was the one they had me visualize first. And they were showing me these like lines, these streams of these white lines. And they were connecting to the chakra and then they were going all the way down into the earth. So I was visualizing like an earth and these lines were going down into the earth from the chakra. And then next, I was just seeing all of this energy releasing from the chakra and coming down these lines and going down into the earth. And then they had me do this again with your throat chakra. And there was actually a lot more coming down from the throat chakra down the line. So I'm not sure if that there is more. It doesn't really make sense that there would be more there since this more started in the sacral area. So what makes more sense is that more is releasing out of the throat chakra, more is ready to release. So this sacral chakra, it might take a little bit more time, but now you have a visualization that you can use and you can start working with and see what results you get from that, and then make changes as you feel to. Okay, so our time is up. Thank you very much, perusing through, for allowing me to do this reading for you. And I hope it gave you some insight into your origin and also some things that you can work on and master and clear. So thank you so much. And I hope that this blesses you. Namaste.